We've had a touch of winter weather, and we all need tips on how to survive and drive safely. Joining us today with some tips for the elderly, we've got Stephanie Motter, and she's mobility manager with the Area Agency on Aging 3. And thanks for joining us today.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Okay, so let's first talk about driving tips, because you guys also have Find a Ride program. But when we're out driving, what are some of the tips that you have for seniors?
Yeah, so first and foremost is just being prepared. So before even leaving the house, something as simple as checking the weather, just to make sure you don't get caught in a storm. Dressing in warm layers. As far as the vehicle, making sure that the vehicle has been, winterized or is ready for driving in winter weather. Making sure windshield wipers are working, the windshield wiper fluid is full. If the tires aren't adequately inflated, that can cause issues with handling. Making sure the car battery is charged, there's enough gas, front and rear window defrosters are working. If there is snow buildup or frost, making sure that's cleared before we, leave the driveway. Taking a cell phone, making sure the cell phone's charged in case of an emergency. We would also suggest, if there is an emergency, that there's an emergency kit in the vehicle. And that could include things like a blanket, extra clothing, boots, gloves, food, some water, a first aid kit, jumper cables, an ice scraper, and even things like sand, salt, or kitty litter. Non-clumping kitty litter can be used for traction if a vehicle has become stuck. So those are some of the things just before you even leave the house that you want to make sure that the vehicle is equipped with. And then once you're actually heading out, just making sure that you're avoiding rush hour, because you may be prepared for ice and snow on the roads, but other drivers may not be. Avoiding back roads, because back roads aren't always plowed right away. So we want to make sure that you're using main roads when possible. And then when operating the vehicle, make sure you're giving yourself more time. So more time to get to your destination, more time for starting, braking and accelerating with the vehicle, because obviously braking hard or accelerating quickly and when the roads are slick can make it really difficult to maintain control of the vehicle. So those are just some of the things. And then always wearing a seatbelt, of course.
Right. Yeah. Those are great tips for any age, really. But okay,
Absolutely.
So let's say if they don't really want to drive in the wintertime, is Find a Ride program one of those things that maybe could help out so you could still get to appointments and to the store and stuff? Tell us about Find a Ride program.
Yeah, absolutely. So Find a Ride is a program with the Area Agency on Aging. It's a grant-funded program. We serve adults over the age of 60 and individuals of any age with a disability with finding transportation options. So when people call us, we attempt to link them to other resources first. But if they're unable to, if we're unable to find options for them in the community, we have 2 transportation specialists who may be able to arrange transportation for those individuals. And it's free of cost to the individual that calls in.
Do you think people don't realize there's this program and don't take advantage of it enough? Or are you finding that, people, more seniors are finding out that you're there to help with that?
Yeah, so older adults, we definitely do have a lot of older adults calling in that are utilizing the program, but there's always people that we're not able to touch. So it's good to reach out.
Is there certain places that they have to go, or is it, mainly wherever they need to go at the time, like you can drop them off?
Yeah, so we prioritize medical appointments because those are really critical. And we are grant funded. So depending on what our funding looks like, sometimes we can take people to other places. Again, just depending on what our funding looks like. And one thing that we do, like I said, we do try to set people up with, even if we can't transport them, we try to set them up with other options in the community that they may not even be aware that they have. And we find that a lot, that people call us looking for us to set up a ride, and we're like, oh, did you realize you had this option available? And we were able to set them up with other resources as well.
So sometimes transportation is difficult for folks, but we should realize that you have connections, that certain people that we can, hook up with.
Absolutely. As mobility manager, it's my job to know kind of all of the resources in our area for transportation and assist in linking people to those resources. So.
All right. Exciting stuff. Well, thank you very much for joining us today and telling us about this.
Thank you.
All right. Don't go away. Noon Edition continues in a moment.